Jeff Slauson here from 19 News Now at the 19 News Digital Desk, back with another update from the manhunt that is currently going on in Maine in the search for Robert Card in association with the shooting that happened last night in Lewiston, Maine. We are now following multiple different videos here. We're going to pull up both of them, and essentially what these are helicopters, drones surrounding what officials say is the suspect's home. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave these up for a bit. We're going to watch along together. They're static shots.
Into the driveway and out of our sight.
But of course, we want to make sure that in case you can see if something happens, we want to leave this up. So we're going to do that right now. And if something happens, we'll cut in. We'll break it down.
Copy that. I'm not talking. Okay, yeah, because our guy wants to get on his tripod. About to go to break. Okay, that light is shining right on us, Susie, if you can see this. Is that a drone? Okay. Yes, the light is continuing to shift, Aaron, and at one point, either that light or another spotlight pointed right at us, but then it shifted back. So they are making some adjustments here. There is movement on the ground, but again, it's very slow, methodical movement. I don't want anyone to read anything into that movement. We can't reveal the specifics of it, but again, it seems to be methodical. They seem to be making some adjustments here. Break now. We just went to break. Let's put it on the phone. Yeah, got it. 3.5 minutes. Got it. Going to the tripod. Hey, does anyone here have a mobile charger? I need a mobile charger for the phone. Okay, here. You have our car? You have our car? Okay. She's good. Let's go. Thank you, sir. Stay here. Yeah, I don't know. Wait, so you see the vehicle? That's a longer vehicle. Bus or a truck. Okay, Susie, if you can hear me, can anyone there hear me? Okay, they just moved a larger vehicle into the driveway. And we don't know what it is, but it seems like the size of a truck or at least a small minibus. Again, it could mean maybe nothing. But I don't, and again, I don't... Yeah, if they don't want me to, if If they do not want me to say that specifically, then I won't say it. What's that? Yeah, I can say that a vehicle has moved. Why don't I just say that? Again, I know we got to be very careful. Hey, can someone there, if you can hear me, Scott Bronstein needs to call your control room. Can you please just read it out into my ear, please? 2-1. Sorry. No, it's 212. Hold on. Keep off control. Can you guys read out your control room number for our producer here? Yeah, 212-275-9053. All right, he's calling the control room. He needs to speak to someone. They just can't. So, Aaron, we have seen movement of a vehicle, and we have to be very careful not to be specific about what we've seen that vehicle do. But again, it's very, I have to stress, it does not seem to be moving with urgency. The vehicle has moved. As you mentioned, the spotlight has been shifting. We don't see the spotlight trained on any particular thing. Well, there is some kind of an illumination of a tree or something next to the house. So, there has been movement. There are air assets in the air. Buzzing around this area, and we don't want to give too many specifics about those either. They seem to be drones that are positioning themselves at various times, and that's what I can tell you right now. And again, I think a very important point to mention here is we've not heard dialogue from a law enforcement officer on that loudspeaker who was trying to communicate with whoever was inside, maybe inside. We have not heard any dialogue, any commands, any pleas for probably more than 30 minutes now. That's right. And you got the impression when they had that window illuminated, Aaron, that they, at that same time, they were communicating with someone who could have been inside. They were giving commands and pleas and appeals for the person to come out with their hands in the air with nothing in their hands, saying they could guarantee their safety. They said that they understood that this could be intimidating for them, that they needed the person to come out with nothing in their hands and then walk to the front of a truck in the driveway and follow instructions. Those were some of the things that we heard a law enforcement officer on a loudspeaker say while that spotlight was trained on the front of the house. The spotlight, as you mentioned, has been shifting. Vehicles have been shifting. Air assets like drones have been moving around and positioning. Putting it all together, it just seems like they are trying to, number one, be patient with whatever they're doing and not endanger anyone, but also to possibly position assets so that they can get a better look and feel for what is inside that house. Right, Aaron, and we have to emphasize that a few hours ago they were here, and that there were flashbangs, and that they seem to have been approaching the house at least, and trying to go inside and gather evidence. And then they very calmly left the scene. I can tell you now that I'm seeing other things shift, which you're probably viewing right now. There are other assets that are shifting around. There's a vehicle moving, is basically what I'm telling you. But I don't want to give too many more specifics than that. And the spotlight is again shifting, and now, okay, now you see it. It is back on the front of the house. And we will, of course, keep a close eye on that to see if any more instructions come. Can I stay on the same IFB? Okay. Yep. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, Anderson, for more than the past hour, we have been here while kind of this influx of law enforcement just kind of poured into this area right in front of the house. They had been here earlier, then they had left. And about an hour ago, they poured several vehicles and personnel and air assets back here and basically set up camp in front of the house with a loudspeaker and with a spotlight. And you can see the spotlight now kind of still shifting around. Either right on the house or just around it. They could also be using the spotlight, we believe, to maybe just check in areas on the sides of the house, because that seems to be what they have done. And then at various times, and actually there was a very continuous dialogue. It was a one-way dialogue. There was a law enforcement officer on a bullhorn while the spotlight was trained on the front of the house, saying commands like, "Come out with your hands up, you're under arrest. Come out with nothing in your hands. We don't want anyone else to get hurt. We know this could be intimidating for you, but we need you to come out and follow our instructions, follow our commands to walk to the front of the truck." I'm not sure exactly which truck they were referring to. They asked whoever might be inside to walk to the front of the truck in the driveway. But I have to tell you, Anderson, for the last calculating now 35 to 40 minutes, that dialogue has gone completely silent. No commands. We have seen these assets on the ground shifting around. Vehicles shifting, air assets like drones, helicopters, just kind of shifting all around. That spotlight continues to shift. And, they seem to be very methodical in the way they're going about this. There's not you can see the spotlight there just kind of probing around a tree at the front of the property. That is correct, Anderson. From every indication that myself and my colleagues who have working sources have gotten, they do not, or at least if they know, they don't want to reveal that. It has not been revealed that they know that he's there, is what I can say. I have to say that there has been no, I guess, rapid or jerky movement of anything here. They've been very methodical in moving assets around, moving vehicles around, repositioning the spotlight. Moving drones and other things. And they seemed, and I can also tell you, by the way, that the lights are no longer flashing. We can see police lights, but they're not flashing anymore. So, yes, and to reiterate, the dialogue has been one way. There's been no indication that anyone on the other side has been talking to them. Can I report that? Yeah. Can you tell them that I can come on and report this? Are you on with the control room? Shot him. This was a press release?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and put it.
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you fine. Yeah, I got to tell you, it was a complete game changer about maybe half an hour ago because earlier today, I would say around 4:30 to 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, we saw what looked to be a search warrant execution at a property that's just a little further down that road. I'm not sure if you follow me or if you're able to tell real well. I still see those red and blue lights of those police cars. That was the location of the very first search warrant execution. When that was over, that's when we heard the FBI call out on that blowhorn, hey, come out. This is the FBI, come out. All of a sudden, we hear these loud bangs, presumably some flashbangs, and then all of a sudden, all of the police left. We thought it was all done. It seemed like that was the end. A lot of the news media that was here left. We stayed put right here. We just weren't sure if that really was the end. Sure enough, maybe 45 minutes ago, all of a sudden, we just see more than a dozen, I would say maybe 16 different law enforcement vehicles, including some SWAT cars, come hightailing down this road, stopping right there on Meadow Drive in front of what neighbors told me is Robert's father's house, and that's where those SWAT vehicles came out to this day. Obviously, you can see them turning their lights out at the house, and we're taking down Robert Park. We know who's inside of that. It's nothing in your hands. We don't want anybody else to be injured at this point, and that includes you. That blowhorn and that sort of messaging has stopped Chris.
This should also be.
This is what I can do. I can say.
This is additional guidance that you need to know.
Absolutely right. They called him by name. The suspect at large. Robert Park, know your
Keep it wide, John.
Anybody that has vehicles parked in the roadway currently, we need them to the side of the roadway. That way there's room for traffic.
Okay, it's Jack.
Anybody that has vehicles on the side or in the roadway.
Let me know when I can report the other stuff.
You can.
I can?
It is
Can you call it up for me?
Output.
Are you saying you're opening up the road?
Hey, Brooke or Charlie, can you hear me?
Chris, they say the announcements that are being heard over the loudspeaker are standard search warrant announcements and executing the warrants to ensure the safety of all involved.
Brooke or Charlie, can you hear me? It's Brian.
This is our normal procedure when doing executing a search warrant. Now, is that just something that they're saying now? Because obviously the activity is still very aggressive.
Okay, King's Jack. It's not raining.
Or is Robert Park really inside that house right now? We just don't know at this point. All
You're going to let the law enforcement leave and then go, then report the alert?
But right now, those SWAT cars are still right there.
I'm just going to need you to call that up. Are they coming to me to do that or not?
They said they're waiting for the law. It looks they're getting
The scene? Yeah.
It's your car on this side of the road.
What's that?
It's your car on this side of the road.
It's on the opposite side.
They're telling everybody they're going to need to move the cars.
Really? Well, I'll tell you what. Can one of you move my white car? I didn't mean to. Sorry.
If you want, I could go try and move it. I don't know where I'll move it.
There it is. It's just, it's closer to here. It's a Hyundai Sonata white.
On the
It's
other side?
pointing that way, on the other side.
I'll just move it to the
Okay.
side. So
Thanks. And Anderson, if it's Brian, if you can hear me. Hey. Okay. Yeah, but we got some new things to report here, Brooke. If you can tell them. Brooke, can you hear me? Brooke, can you hear me? It's Brian. Can you hear me? They can't hear me. Is my mic even on?
Their mic is on.
Brooke is talking to me, but he's not hearing me. We can report that we've seen vehicles leave. Okay, so Brooke, just tell them I've got some new reporting. We've seen vehicles leave, and we have some new. Well, we also have some new stuff from the state law enforcement about why they're here. Okay, keep that up. Brooke, tell them we have new information. Okay, we have new information from the Maine Department of Public Safety. Yeah. Well, Anderson, what I can tell you is that the spotlight, as you can probably see, has shifted back to the front of the house, but we have also seen law enforcement vehicles, several of them really, depart the scene. Now, there are law enforcement vehicles still there, and there are still assets being moved around on the ground. But in the meantime, we have just gotten an email from the Public Information Officer for the Maine Department of Public Safety describing what is happening here, and I'll read it to you in part. Regarding those announcements that were being, on the loudspeaker that we heard, those commands of, come out with your hands up. This person says, this is from the Public Information Department of the Maine Department of Public Safety. They say the announcements that are being heard over a loudspeaker are standard search warrant announcements when executing a warrant to ensure the safety of all involved. It is unknown whether Robert Card is in any of the homes law enforcement will search. Law enforcement officials are simply doing their due diligence by tracking down every lead in an effort to locate and apprehend Card. So that does confirm, Anderson, some of what we had been reporting on earlier, that and our colleagues, working their sources, have said that it is not clear at all whether he is there, and she has just confirmed, this public information officer has just confirmed, that it is unknown whether he is there or at any other residence connected to him. It's been a very methodical operation here this evening, we can tell you, for the last hour and a half or so. We are in the dark. Just to reiterate, we reported this last hour, but we're in the dark now because when they poured back in here at roughly 7 o'clock, maybe a little bit before 7 o'clock Eastern time, with all these assets and kind of started to flood the area here, they gave us very strict instructions: turn your lights off, because having the lights on is endangering the safety of law enforcement. So that's why we're in the dark here. And then over the next 30 minutes or so, we witnessed and heard, commands and appeals from a law enforcement officer on a loudspeaker to whoever might have been inside to come out with their hands up. They understood that this could be intimidating. They don't want anyone else to get hurt, but they wanted them to come out with their hands up and nothing in their hands, and to walk to the front of the truck in the driveway and follow instructions. But then the dialogue simply stopped, Anderson, probably a good 40 minutes ago, and there's been no dialogue since then. And they've been very methodically moving assets kind of on the ground, in the air, around that house. We can tell you that this appears from our angle to be one structure on this property. We did see law enforcement personnel kind of fanning out to the left of the property when they first kind of poured their assets back in for the second time tonight. To the left of the property seems to be some kind of a farm field. But, again, when we saw those personnel doing that fanning out, that could be standard procedure just to kind of secure the area or move around. We don't know what, if any, other properties he has access to. We do know that he owns a small power boat, and that the Coast Guard is joining in the search for any suspicious vessels because they found his vehicle. Of course, we've been reporting that almost for 24 hours now, that they found his vehicle or vehicle connected to him at a boat landing dock. So those are the properties that we know he owns. We know he owns a boat, and we know he owns this house. Yes, the object illuminated on the left is the house. The object on the right is a law enforcement vehicle. It looks like a large tactical armored vehicle. Now, the way the spotlight has been shifting around, I just heard some kind of a thud, but that may not be anything. The way the spotlight has been shifting around, I can't say for sure whether the spotlight has always been operated from that vehicle, because the spotlight has really been kind of shifting one way and another at very odd angles. So how much flexibility that vehicle would have to do that, I don't know. Oh,
Just left them there.
because is the road clear for them to go?
Yeah, there's so many cars they couldn't move them. So
Oh, really?
they just went through.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. I think they're gonna. I think they're done. I think they're done, and they're just gonna leave these people here all night.
I wonder. Here it is. If one of the vehicles that went by.
What?
I wonder if one of the vehicles went by. They had something in it.
Do dynamic entries
That's my shot.
unless you have to, unless there's a hostage or some other exigent circumstance. There's no reason to put
Cool.
the type of people at risk like that. They have shields and vests, but still, this guy is
My shot doesn't look half bad. All gained up like that.
he's trained.
Is this from the other direction? I don't know what this is. That must be from over there. Same shot as me.
It's Shimon's team this year.
Oh, is that where they are?
Yeah. I don't know where they are.
I would assume they are. Oh, yeah, maybe it's some up there. Can't see them off my trailer, right? Nope. Well, we'll find out when we can. What are you gonna do? You know, we didn't have a choice. They told us to come.
Okay. They're taking a break now. They're coming back and doing the same thing.
Oh, can I change battery then? Are we in a break?
We're in a break. It's your call. Hey, Brooke.
Tell them I'm gonna change.
Brooke. He's not
Wait, 1 second.
hearing
1
me.
second.
Brooke, can you hear me?
Can you let us know when we're in the break?
They're in the break now. They're in the break
Okay.
now. Are we okay to come to his camera, even if he's not back?
It's. I don't think that it needs to move, but
No, as long as
No.
I don't have to change the shot.
Can you repeat, please? Yeah, I hear you, Charlie. Do you hear me? That is what, yes, we have reported that, yes. He owns a home with hundreds of acres of land, and he has several legally purchased firearms. We also know that he owns a boat. It really could be, Charlie. I don't know for sure, but it could be. It could be. I think we could say that. I mean, the way the layout is here, this could easily be that home. Brooke and Charlie, if you can hear me, there's movement of a vehicle and the spotlight now. Can you see what's going on with that vehicle? They're moving it.
Looks like there's law enforcement team walking around.
Yeah. Can you see guys on the ground?
Yeah.
That's a large law enforcement vehicle moving toward the house, right?
Looked like there were a whole bunch of
People?
just walking, but not any.
I gotta be careful what I say. They don't want me to reveal any tactical. Charlie and Brooke, we have some movement. Okay. Yes. Right. Okay. Copy that. Well, Anderson, I can tell you that a large law enforcement vehicle has repositioned, and we have to be careful not to give away too much tactical information here for safety reasons. A large law enforcement vehicle has repositioned. The spotlight, and you can now see it, is kind of shifting around in the front of the house. Again, they're making some adjustments here. There's a spotlight. There you go. You can see it going right. There's another there's a brighter spotlight than we've seen that now has kind of gone back and forth to that front window, and it's on the window now. And then sometimes they will pull it away. But there is a large law enforcement vehicle that has repositioned, and we did see personnel on the ground near it. And that's pretty much all I can give as far as specifics, but they are repositioning things. And again, this has all been, I have to emphasize, this has all been very methodical. So we don't want to give a sense of urgency that's not there, but they have been, very methodical in the way they've moved around, the way they've moved the spotlight around, and repositioned law enforcement vehicles, which they have just done. And you can see the spotlight probing the front of the house. It'll probe a little bit, then it'll cut off. That's absolutely right. And the lay of the land here is that it's very rural. There are forests and fields all around here. He does own a property with hundreds of acres around it. We are not sure if this is that property or if this is another one, but we do know that. We do know that he's very familiar with the area. And we do know that law enforcement has been here at least twice today to take a look at this place. And the first time they came, they used flashbangs when they approached the house and possibly went inside. You mentioned his training. One of his former colleagues in the U.S. Army Reserves has told CNN that he was and is a very skilled marksman and outdoorsman, that he was the best shooter in their unit. So that also reflects, what law enforcement has to deal with if they are going to approach him in any way, shape, or form, or if they ever pin him down. You mentioned, Anderson, the planning. I think you're right. We do not know specifically whether he planned this in detail or what he planned. But what we can tell viewers is, again, about the timeline of the shootings. The first 911 calls from the bowling alley of an active shooter came at 6:56 p.m. Eastern Time last night. The second set of 911 calls came only 12 minutes later from that bar. And so what does that indicate? It indicates that he very likely moved with some speed from one location to another. And as our John Miller has reported, that he has broken up with a longtime girlfriend recently, that those are two places that they were known to frequent. This is according to law enforcement sources who spoke to John. So what you can put together from that is that he knew both of these places, and that, again, if you put, you piece together the timeline of the 911 calls, it wasn't very long between sets of shootings last night. And we are told that it's only about a 10-minute drive from one of those places to the other. And when the 911 calls came just 12 minutes apart from each location, that tells you that he moved with some haste and some speed. Does that indicate that he had real purpose there and he knew exactly, where he was going to go and how fast he was going to get there? Possibly. But that's what we can tell you about kind of how this unfolded and what we can piece together about any possible planning here. Okay, Charlie and Brooke, we've got more law enforcement vehicles moving past the house. If you can hear me, a whole stream of them. Hey guys, can you talk to them, Lauren? Tell them to talk to me. We've got lots of law enforcement vehicles moving past. I think they're extracting. They'll be able to get past our cars, right?
Yeah, I think so. They did earlier.
Charlie and Brooke, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 law enforcement vehicles moving past us here. They're leaving. They're leaving. They're coming past us, coming away from the house. Anderson, we have a line of, I'm counting 7 law enforcement vehicles, some of them trucks, some of them just sedans, moving past us. They came from the other side of where the house is on the road and are moving past us away from the house. It does not, I'm not sure if they're completely extracting, but they are moving away from it. But we do still see at least at least 2 law enforcement vehicles at the house. One vehicle is in the driveway, and there are other vehicles up the street. That spotlight that we've been talking about for now the last 2 hours is still there. So they are not completely extracting, but several law enforcement vehicles slowly, methodically moving past us and away from the house. And just to point out, again, for our viewers, that when we first encountered the situation at roughly 7 o'clock Eastern time, and the influx of these law enforcement vehicles and personnel kind of approached the house, they came right up to us, the law enforcement people did, and said, they demanded that we shut all of our camera lights off. We've been in the dark since then, saying that our camera lights were creating a danger for law enforcement. So we've been filming, as you've seen, in the dark since then. And we're about 250, 300 yards away from the house of the suspect. Again, more vehicles moving out of this area now, more law enforcement vehicles moving out of this area, but a couple of them we can see still in position. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the charger.
Yeah, it's almost, chargers are almost dead.
Oh shit. Okay. Well then I've got 82%. So maybe I should just go ahead.
How much?
82. So why don't
Oh, yeah, I think
I'll
you're-
unplug. Yep.
you're
Yep.
gonna have-
Yeah. Okay. 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 Copy that, Charlie. Got it. Thank you. All right, they're going to come to us soon, again, and then we're going to get on the top of the 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Okay. I wonder if can the 9 o'clock take our? Can you ask if the 9 o'clock can just take our same IFB?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would help us.
I wonder if we still have the no light rule.
I think it makes for a better shot without lights, don't you?
It's very sexy.
You can can you see more? I think you can.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If all of us were flooding it.
It was really eerie with the phone lights on you. Yeah, fantastic. They were just flying this helicopter just to make noise interference.
It's possible, sure. Yeah. I mean, that thing's been circling for.
Right, but I don't think he's looking or he's just making noise, just going around circles. Psyops. And we wouldn't know if they were making an announcement or not.
No. Well, no, we would, because they were doing the announcements when that thing was up.
Oh, they were?
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
So you were in New York or in Washington? I was just there for a wedding last week. It was at a hotel called The Line. It was really in the hipster part of town. I mean, it just smelled like marijuana everywhere. It was called Adams. Adams. It was, no, it was in The Line Hotel. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's very hipster. And I said, "Some hipster." Oh yeah. Are you assigned to a show? We went to the African American Museum on Saturday, and then when we came out, we went on this massive hotel stand in red. I didn't see us yet.
Okay, thank you, Brooke. Okay.
The guys that were in the field, I think they just got back to their car.
Oh,
I
right.
think those guys were the ones who died.
Are those law enforcement guys?
Yep. They're out there creeping.
So, oh, that was the guy who was up the hill, right? That was that one with the blue lights. Wasn't he the one that was further up the hill?
Yes.
Okay, so they may be moving out completely. I see other guys with flashlights coming this way. What's that light? Okay, no worries, guys. Those are guys with flashlights, aren't they?
They are.
And they're walking. Yes, Charlie, yes. Sure. Okay, Charlie. Copy that. 3 guys with flashlights. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks, Charlie. Do they get flashlights or lights on their helmets?
I don't know. Their lights, though, for sure.
Yeah.
They're on their heads. No, they're not. They're,
Copy that.
I don't know. They're holding them.
Copy that. Thank you, Brooke.
They kind of look like soldiers. They dress like soldiers.
But those are law enforcement personnel, clearly, right?
Yeah, they look like soldiers.
Are they wearing tactical gear?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to shoot them too close, right, for their safety.
Yeah, and I guess I can't. I mean,
They got a dog, too.
how would you advise me to describe this? That they've been moving around on foot, but not getting any more specific than that?
They have a dog, a canine.
They do have a canine?
They just put the dog in the car.
Yeah. Everybody's going home, right?
Well, that may be good news for us, for our health. Huh? Okay, hey, thanks, man. Great fucking job, seriously. Thank you, Scott.
Said they're having a real hard time since Drew died,
Oh,
finding their way, and
yeah.
kind of lost and without a leader or a real strong. He was a very strong reporter.
Yeah, I can talk more about this off off mic.
Yeah.
They want me to point.
The house.
Oh, yes. It's. I'm sorry. It's Jonathan. Yes, he can point at the house. Yes.
That's what?
The-
What happened to Josh Ramon?
He went to do the John Berman shot, the anchor shot.
He does like to have the excessive lighting.
Right, Anderson. We've seen more repositioning of law enforcement vehicles in the last few minutes. We also see personnel on the ground moving around, again, very methodically. The spotlight has not really shifted, but there is a vehicle a law enforcement vehicle, and a large one, I should say, that is in the driveway there that you can see in our camera shot. So what we can tell you is that a short time ago, a stream of 7 law enforcement vehicles left the area. They left a couple of law enforcement vehicles here. We have just seen personnel on the ground carrying flashlights, but they were moving away from the house and then into vehicles. So not quite indicating maybe that they're packing up, but they could be getting ready to extract from the area. And you see another vehicle there that is on the move, but we'll see where they go. Again, this has been an ongoing fluid situation now for close to the last 2 hours, where they, in the early part of that sequence, they were on a loudspeaker trying to appeal to whoever was in the house, possibly, to come out with their hands up with nothing in their hands, to follow their instructions. They were almost making a personal appeal to whoever might be in there, saying, we know this could be intimidating for you. We don't want anyone else to get hurt. And kind of almost appealing on a personal level to whoever might have been there. So that's kind of how it's played out. No indication that anyone has been in there, and law enforcement now kind of methodically moving around. Some personnel seeming to be leaving now.
Hey, it's Brian Todd's PJ.
That vehicle.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Brooke. Look, you see the last vehicle's seemingly pulling out now. You're still hot. I'm good. How are you? Okay. Law enforcement seems to be pulling out for the final time here, just so you know.